When I think about 3 words that it takes to really embody empowerment and leadership in this role, I think of fail, I think of ICE, and I think of communicate. Now, let me break it down. From a fail perspective, one of the things that I know is if you're not failing, you're not stretching. And so daily, we have to really think about how much we're pushing in there so that we get outside of our comfort zone. And that's a true mark of leadership. When I talk about ICE, that's a little different because guess what? Our ICE has to be colder. So that means from visioning to getting out there to working hard, we're going to double down in a way that when we step in a room, they know we're in a room. And from a communication perspective, we got to let them know what we did. We're building this so that we can tell great stories. Baltimore's story, I actually liken it to my life, right? It's one of those things where we have some good bones, some challenges, some opportunities. But what we know is we have grit. And so Baltimore has continued to grow and thrive and build on our assets, which are our people. And that's what we continue to do and we will continue to do. A pivotal moment in my career, but it was the first time I realized what golden handcuffs were. It was one of those positions where I was making my quota, I'm doing all of the things I'm supposed to do, and still they promoted a bunch of people who didn't look like me. So what was I going to do at that point in time? Like a part of me wanted to just like fuss and cuss and do all of that other stuff. And then another part of me was like, well, I'm gonna make sure that they do it. What I ended up doing was working with an organization who understood my value. And so I encourage people to really come to know and grow and surround yourself with things that will help take you to that next level. Because once I did that and got into a place where I could galvanize people and do things to help uplift my career, the growth was exponential. I think part of what makes me is my journey. And it was one that started off a little rocky, but ultimately got to a place that I love. I grew up extremely poor. I lived in an area where there weren't very many people in my neighborhood who you would see, going to work and doing all of these things. And so, my mom really worked to make sure that we had role models and that she put us in places where we could grow and learn. I ended up going to Baltimore Polytechnic Institute, and part of that reasoning was I wanted to make sure that when I left, I had a job. And having a Black female engineer, who's left-handed, by the way, could really have opportunities. One of the things that I know in coming from where I came is I wanted to learn and watch and listen. And so there were often times that there were jobs that weren't paying, but I would shadow to get the lesson. I have this thing called 100 no's. And that means in a month, I have to get 100 no's. So I write a list. That means I'm asking so much to get there. And so the advice would be to keep pushing, to keep asking, to keep stretching, to define your vision and to go after it and don't take no for an answer. I think quantifying your value varies in where you are in your career development. When I was young in my career, I was hungry and I needed to be. But I don't know that my value was received as much at that point in time. And I couldn't really push as hard because I was still in a learning mode. And so at that point, it was get in, listen, learn, make sure you always showed up on time, be there early, get your shit done, right? Make sure that your ice is colder. That was early career. And then as you go along the ecosystem, you come more into your power. You start to know, not think, but you start to know the deals, the people, what needs to happen along the way. And then you get to a place like me now. I'm 50, right? I've put in a lot of work. I've owned a minority business. I've been on these boards. I've done all of these things, and I'm in these rooms. And now you command a different level of knowledge and power, right? People want you in the room. They want to hear your opinions. You're not just doing it. And so part of it is making sure that you build with credibility to a place that you get there where you can stand in the room and know, I know my stuff. I believe it. I care. I'm working in a way that I'm doing it for the right reasons. So I deserve to be here. just as much as you do. My family, they're my motivators, right? They're my cheerleaders. They're the ones who tell me when I'm doing stuff right and wrong. But one of the things that if you were to ask them about me, they're going to say I work hard. They probably say I work too hard. They're going to tell you that I care, that I have empathy, and I think my experiences, vast experiences, allowed me to do that. And they're going to tell you that if I want it done, we're going to find a way. I'm going to make it happen. The legacy that I'm leaving behind is care of people. We're going to take this table, widen the table, because everybody has to eat. And we want to make sure that we do whatever we can to make sure that everybody, black, white, green, brown, purple, rich, poor, lived experience, formerly incarcerated, businessman, businesswoman, child, everybody is eating.